Hello everybody, my name is Marcus and I'm a fibre artist from Scotland, and this is going to be my September project update video where I'll be taking a look back at what I've been working on over the last month or so. Hello! So my location might look slightly different. I'm in pretty much the same position, but I've changed a couple things about the room that I'm filming in. So I used to have a big sofa here, but it was just too big for the room. And it was kind of intended to function as a guest bed if we ever had anyone staying over, but it was profoundly uncomfortable. So on the rare occasion that we have had somebody staying overnight, they've just slept on the sofa that we've got in the living room, because I wouldn't ask anyone to sleep on that sofa because it's profoundly uncomfortable. Yeah, so I have a bit more room in here. I'm sitting in like my desk chair that I have, because I have a desk in here. This is where I work from home. But I think I'm going to get another chair for in here. Well, there is actually one. I do have a chair here, but I don't like it for this room. It came out of my studio, and I really like it for my studio. It's the perfect height for when I'm winding my warping mill for self-striping. It's just everything about this chair works perfectly. I just brought it up here just until I find another chair, because this one that I'm sitting in, it's fine for working, but it's not really comfortable for lounging. But anyway, that was a tangent that wasn't intended, but yeah. So first up, I have a couple finished objects to show, which is wild for me. So first up is the bare hooded cardigan pattern by MonPetitViolon, and it is crocheted. Let me just put my hand in. It's a bit difficult to show off this pattern. So it's got a hood with the little bear ears, and I got these really, really cute buttons. I'll bring that a little bit closer. So each one of them is different. So Gemma, who's Gemma Mills on YouTube, she recommended a shop local to her in Devon called The Button Box, I think, because they do what they sell. The shop does what it says on the tin. They sell buttons and other things, but yeah, because I knew that I needed buttons for this, but my initial plan was I was going to 3D print some just plain, like, I was going to go for a darker shade of brown than the yarn that I've used. But yeah, my 3D printer's broke, so I was going to have to buy buttons, and Gemma recommended the shop near her because she said they have quite a good selection. And I found these, and they're just too cute. Because even when I realised I was going to have to buy buttons, you know, I was planning on just buying a pack of buttons that were all the same. But then when I seen that they had this 5-button set, and I knew that I needed 5 buttons, it was just too perfect. And I'm so glad that I got them, because I mean, the cardigan is cute, but just with like the colour that I chose, and kind of the gauge that it's been crocheted at, I think if it didn't have the cute buttons, it would run the risk of looking a bit like a potato sack. So yeah, this was intended to be for my nephew, who is 1 year old, and the whole time I've been making this, I've been kind of thinking to myself that this is just not going to fit him. He is quite large for his age. He was born very large and has continued to grow very large. But yeah, the size that I worked from, I think it was 2 to 3 years, and he's just over a year old now. So I was thinking, oh, you know, there'll be bags of room. But I did use a smaller hook than intended, and I thought doing a bigger size with a smaller hook, it might kind of balance out. But my friend who has a kid who is 2 months older than my nephew, she was over, and I asked her to take a look at it, and I said, like, oh, like, do you think this would fit your kid? And she said, yeah, like it would be a bit snug, but it would definitely fit him. And I was like, snug, you say. So my nephew is in Australia. It's just coming into their spring, and will very soon be summer. So he probably won't get much wear out of this year. And come next year, it's not going to fit him. So I'm not going to send it over because there's no point. But it's not going to go to waste because one of my other friends is due a baby in January. So, I mean, although this will be too big for her kid when they're born, but it'll, they can grow into it. And it's Scotland, so this doesn't have to be just for the middle of winter. It's always kind of cold here, so cardigans are, you can get a full year's wear out of a cardigan, so whenever it fits, you can wear it. And I'm sure my friend will love it. It's kind of a shame that I'm not going to be able to send this to my nephew, but I'll just have to make something else. And I've kind of missed. This was for his first birthday. That was in June. Yeah, missed it. So the last time I showed you something else I was working on for my nephew, which was this little octopus thing. It says crocheted, just using some sock yarn and a 3mm crochet hook. It's fine. It's vaguely an octopus, but I really wanted to put a face on it, but because this was actually going to be going to a child, and my nephew is very much at that stage of kind of chewing everything, putting everything in his mouth, so I didn't want to use the safety eyes, just because I've heard that they're not actually safe for children and that they can pop off. Whenever I've misplaced one, I've always found it a struggle to remove it once it's been placed, but it's not really worth the risk. So I was thinking of embroidering a face on. I've tried a couple times and it's been a disaster. So I crocheted some just little circles with black yarn. Oh, I should have sorted these out before I started filming. That would have been the smart thing to do. Obviously the placement's wonky, I've just thrown them on, but they're just too big. They're just far too big, they look haunted. So I made some smaller ones. Let's just chop them on the floor. And the smaller ones, I think they're too small. I think they look weird. But I think part of it is maybe that the body isn't long enough as well. That there's not really much space for a face. I don't know, it all looks a bit weird. But what is really unfortunate, so the yarn that I've used is a kind of self-patterning variegated yarn. And there's this dark stripe that goes right where the mouth would be. It would be in this area. So whenever I've tried embroidering a mouth on it, this is just kind of throwing the look off a bit. And it's really annoying because I've I've done all the work. Just putting the face on should just be the final, just a little, it shouldn't take any time at all, but I have spent many hours trying to make this work and I'm just not happy with it. If you have any ideas, please let me know because I clearly need help. But yeah, these are definitely too small and the bigger ones are definitely too big. And do I maybe just go with it and go for really, really wonky looking? And just make it look like a feature rather than an unfortunate disaster. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts because I'm kind of stuck with this and I don't really know where to go from here. So, what's this called? The blanket I'm working on. The crocheted northeasterly blanket that I've been working on. So I gave this a wash. Let me just roll back. Perks of having my desk chair to film on. So it's a good size. so far. It's not finished, but I think I mentioned last time that I wanted to wash it and kind of not pin it out but lay it out just so I can take some measurements and get an idea for how big it is just now, so that I know how big I want it to be when it's finished. So I did do that, but it was a while ago. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think it is 180 centimetres long and 70 centimetres wide. So it's definitely, I still can't decide exactly how long I want it. Because it's, I mean, lengthwise, I don't know if I want, I don't know whether I want this to be the width or the length, if you know what I mean. Because this is a good size. But I think I might have this, you know, the current length, I might make it longer. But this is not making any sense. So it's 180 centimetres long. And it's currently 70 centimetres wide. I think I might make it wider than it is long. I think that's what I've been trying to say. So I don't know, because of the way I use blankets, I tend to wear them. I like to wrap them around me and like walk around the house with them on. And sometimes even answer the door because I forget that I'm wearing my blanket. But so having a square blanket doesn't really work for me. For that, I would prefer to have a longer side. And I think I want it longer than 180 centimetres. So I think I might go for maybe 250 centimetres wide and then 180 centimetres long. I don't know. I don't know if any of this makes sense. I'm not a numbers person. But what this tells me is that I'm nowhere near finished. I didn't think I was. But initially I was thinking of doing it square, so that would put me at maybe the 40% completion mark. But I definitely think I want to go a little bit more than 180 centimetres, maybe even 200. I don't maybe need to go to the 250. We'll see. What I'll potentially do is get to about the 180 mark and change my mind, because I might just go, this is big enough. I can be finished with this. But yeah, I'm loving this project so much. And so I mentioned in the last time that I've been using yarn that wasn't scraps, and this did start life as a scrappy blanket. But then I was gifted, I was gifted some scraps from friends. But then I was gifted some mini skeins, and at first I felt a bit of resistance about using a mini skein in this because it's not a scrap. And like I've got some hand spun in here as well, and I think I'm definitely going to reframe this. I had a conversation in the comments the last time with Christina, and I think I'm going to totally reframe this from a scrap blanket to a memory blanket. Because I get so much use out of blankets that they're not like a lesser project, so I shouldn't need to only use like lesser yarn like scraps. So I was at the Scottish Yarn Festival at the end of August, and some of the yarn that I bought is going to be going in here. I bought it with the intention of joining this, because this is no longer a scrap blanket. It is in fact a memory blanket. And I had it folded all nicely, now it's a crumpled heap. But yeah, so I think the last time I showed it, I actually have no recollection. Last time I showed it, I think I was here-ish. I finished that little strip off, and then I, washed it, blocked it, and then I've not added any more to it. And now that I've shown you it, because I kind of didn't want to show it off whilst I was still working on it, because it had been washed and laid out. I didn't pin it out just because I thought that's a lot of work when I'm not actually finished with it. But yeah, I just kind of pinned it out. So the edges are sitting a little bit flatter, so I kind of wanted to wait until I could show it off before I start adding more to it. Just because the nature of the fabric, it does kind of roll in on itself at the edges. And it's not perfectly flat because I didn't pin it, but it is sitting a bit nicer. So that's my crocheted northeasterly. So the last episode I showed you off the socks that I had just started. So this is my West Yorkshire Spinners vintage tinsel. And I'll come a bit closer just so you can see how obscenely sparkly this yarn is. So last time I'd just finished the cuffs and I'd started here. Now I've knit the entirety of the leg and I've done the heels and I'm just starting on the foot. So I'm following my kind of typical formula that I normally use for socks. I do 64 stitches, 2 at a time, with 2.25 Chowgu needles. Then I've done the fish lips kiss heel because that's just my favourite way to do heels, and it's so drummed into my brain that I don't need to think about it. I don't even count the stitches. I just know when things need to happen. So I always go to it. Because socks for me are generally I don't want to think project. I just want to do. I do them a lot when I'm on a train or trains. I never get trains. I do it a lot when I'm on buses. So I don't really want to be thinking too much. I just want to do, keep my fingers busy. So I have done these a good bit longer than I would normally do the leg. Partly the reason for that is I like wearing boots, and I typically, unintentionally, I typically knit my socks just below the boot line. So when I'm wearing boots, the top of the boot can like rub against my leg, and then the sock can sometimes like slide down and like I can't reach it, and then it ends up all underneath my foot, and it is sensory hell. So this is the I think this colourway was called Showtime. I'd done 2 Beetlejuice colourways. I think this one was called Showtime. So this is like the kind of standard length of a leg that I would do. And this is the 2 together. So that you can see there is a good bit more length on that. So these should be perfect for winter when I'm wearing boots a lot. I don't tend to wear boots all the time during winter, but they definitely get worn a lot. So I will probably need to make more socks that are a bit longer, because the longer socks that I do have seem to have found new feet and walked off out of my house. I can't seem to find any of my socks of a reasonable length. All I have is a kind of shorter leg ones. Yeah, I've been kind of not in the mood for sock knitting that much this year. Usually I'll make a good few pairs a year, but this is the only pair that I've actually finished this year, and I didn't start them this year. I started them about a year ago, and I think I finished them in like February, March time. So these are going okay for a month. Having stripes really, really helps me, because there's just like, all of these small little milestones. So if I'm working on them, and if I am getting a little bit bored, I can kind of, I'll finish this stripe off, and it just kind of helps keeps me going. I don't know. But yeah, so happy with how these are coming along. I should be able to finish these off pretty soon, which would be good, because as I said, I need more socks, which I never thought I would say because I have a vast collection, but they're all the wrong length. So that brings me to my last thing that I'm going to show you, which is a new cast on. Or at least I don't think I've shown it off before. It depends what video I put out first last time, because I put 2 videos out quite close together. One was before I went to the Scottish Yarn Festival, and one was... oh yeah, it was before, so never mind, I haven't shown you this. So if you watched my video about the Scottish Yarn Festival, you will have seen this yarn, which is this. Which can I just give a shout out to my ball winder, because look at that. If you've got trypophobia, this is an absolute nightmare, but I don't, and I'm just in love with how crisp the kind of, I don't even know what to call this, the lattice work is. So I got this yarn kit from the 80 Skeins shop. They had a stall at the Scottish Yarn Festival. So this is 100% Latvian Dundaga wool. I'll check that. So Dundaga wool is, well, it comes from Latvian sheep, but the way the wool is processed is they wash the fleece in, I believe it's pond water and salt. So it's not like a hot scour that it's going through, so it leaves a good portion of the lanolin in the fleece, which you can definitely feel that kind of, it's not waxy, it doesn't feel sticky at all. You can feel that you can kind of feel the lanolin in it. And so that kind of helps with the insulative properties of wool. But it also makes it, not waterproof, but it makes it kind of water resistant. Lanolin itself is hydrophobic, so having some in your woolen items helps it maybe survive a quick shower. It doesn't just immediately absorb any rain, which is always appreciated in Scotland. So as I said, it was a kit that I purchased. It wasn't just yarn, so there is a shawl pattern included, and I believe it's called the Basiu. I think that's how you pronounce it. Apologies if that's wrong, but I will put the details on screen. So I've made a very, very brief start on this. It's brioche all over design, and I love doing brioche, and this has been really fun so far. I've made a very, very small start. I basically cast this on and got this far, and then decided that I really needed to finish this, so I had to change priorities a little bit. But I made not a mistake as such. So the pattern calls for a main colour and a contrast colour. So obviously this one is variegated and this one is a kind of solid tonal colour all throughout. So when it said, oh, you want a main colour, I just grabbed this because I was like, well, this is a colourful one, so I would want this to be my main colour. But although it's brioche, the pattern work is kind of only on one side. So this colour was actually going to be the background colour, and then you would have this sitting on top, which wouldn't have looked bad, but I would prefer it to be the other way around. So I've swapped it around, but at this point, because of the colour sections that you've got at the yarn, you can't really tell that I've switched. It was maybe at about this point. I think you can see the blue slightly there, so this is probably the right side. But yeah, so I changed halfway through. You can't tell, it's fine. And I believe the designer said that you can actually swap halfway through if you want, so that you can change, the dominant colour, which I could do. I don't know, probably won't, but yeah. When I bought this, so it was 2 skeins, and I didn't realise it. Basically, I just thought they were 200-gram skeins. I thought they were quite, they were skeined up quite firmly, but I didn't really question it until I went to pop these on my ball winder. And very quickly I realised, oh, okay, my ball winder is a bit too small to handle this amount of yarn, and I actually had to pull kind of stretch part of the ball winder aside so that the yarn could keep spinning round. Yeah, these are absolutely ginormous. So as it turns out, these are like 225 gram skeins. They weren't 100 grams at all, not even close. In fact, they were more than double 100 grams. But yeah, so this should make a good size shawl, and I will include a picture of the finished shawl here. Not mine, obviously, because not got that far. But yeah, really happy with how this is coming along, and I can't wait to get stuck into it throughout the autumn. So that is all that I've been working on over the last month or so. But I've got big plans for this autumn. Now that I've got the baby stuff out of the way, excluding finishing off the octopus, I want to get back into my bubble cardigan. I really want to wear that this year. I'm really excited for the project, and I just keep putting it aside to work on other things, but I think that needs to become my next focus project. But also, now that I've freed up some space in this room, I'm going to bring my loom back up from the studio. I'd done this last year. I brought it up for the winter, but because I had the stupidly ginormous sofa, it made this room really difficult to be in because there was nowhere for the loom to be, and I was constantly kind of dancing around it when I was trying to do anything. But now that I've got a bit more room, I might actually just keep it up here full time, because so in spring I took the loom back down to the studio and I haven't touched it since. My thinking was, oh, like the weather's getting warmer, so I can sit in the studio, but it just hasn't happened. So I've got a couple of things that I want to weave, so I'm going to bring the loom back up. So thank you very much for watching this month's project update video. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.